Before watching this video, I want you to know that I'm a trained professional. That before we get into this, if you're going to try it, you assume all the risks and liabilities. Okay, so it's not that serious. I wanted to try something new and maybe start a new series. So let me know what you think about this idea. The series is called multi-apping. I mean, come on, it's just that. It's using different apps at the same time and strategically picking the best orders. So whenever you're doing this multi-apping, you're going online with different apps at the same time, you're just going to choose the best order or the order that comes through first. So for this, I guess episode 1, I don't want to take junk orders, although there's no driving incentives right now, really on any app. So what a great time to start this episode 1. So with that being said, let's start multi-apping. Let's go online and let's see what we get. So I took that one just to make sure I have another order. And I mean, again, with no bonuses, the dollars to mile ratio, it's not exceptional, but it gets me another order. Plus, it's gonna put me in a different area, which is gonna give us a chance to use the other apps. So let's go get this one. So just to review the strategies of, again, why we're going to multi-app. Number 1 is to get more orders, especially during busy days. So let's say you typically drive on DoorDash, and this is a great example of why you need to sign up for as many apps as possible. So if you schedule a shift on a DoorDash and it's just dead, you can use multi-apping, going online with other apps to hopefully jog that day, get busier, get more orders. Number 2, it gives you options. If you finish, or if you're just driving in a actually busy area, chances are you're going to get orders from both apps at the same time. Then you can smartly pick and choose the best one for you. And as an independent contractor, you are allowed to do that. So here's exactly what multi-apping looks like. So right here, I'm online with 3 apps: Uber Eats, Postmates, and DoorDash. And of course, you're just gonna quite literally see, okay, who's sending me the next request? Now, I don't know what powers make this happen, but I feel like sometimes I'll get the first request, like DoorDash, and then it seems like the rest of the apps blow up, right? Then a Postmates request comes through, then an Uber Eats request comes through. Now, after you've accepted the order that you want to take, of course, you're going to log out or pause requests on the other apps. So you can see here, I actually paused my shift on a DoorDash, and there's something else you should note with that. You have 30 minutes to pause a DoorDash shift, after which your shift is ended. So what actually happened was I paused the DoorDash shift to do some Uber Eats requests, and I took another Uber Eats request. And between both of those, it took longer than 30 minutes. So when I went back into DoorDash, there you go, my shift was ended. So if you do have to pause a DoorDash, if you are going to multi-app, and let's say there's a good surge bonus, right, on Uber Eats, let's say it's $2, and DoorDash is $1.50. So you're multi-apping and you get the $2 from Uber Eats. You're going to pause a DoorDash, but keep in mind, Uber Eats surge pricing changes quite frequently. Versus DoorDash, that is basically a reserved peak pay bonus. That is a set bonus for the certain amount of time. So just be smart using that pause feature, because that surge may go away eventually, and you don't want to necessarily lose your shift on DoorDash if you time out for longer than 30 minutes. So what you're looking at is me cycling between multiple requests. And at number one, I am quickly looking at the dollars to mile ratio. Now keep in mind, you have at least 30 seconds to make a decision on an order. Typically these apps give you 30 seconds, with DoorDash it's 45 seconds to either decline or accept that order. Now I felt a little bit rushed trying to cycle between the apps, but then I remembered you really don't have to be that rushed. You have a good 30 seconds to make a decision. So number one, dollars to mile ratio. And again, what we're talking about here, any other strategy, if you're familiar with the restaurant, and then looking at the pickup and drop off location. So let me know if you have any questions on that, on pausing versus ending your shift, because I think there's some deeper strategies there to make sure you make the most money and to not losing out on one shift being kicked offline. So on the first set of orders, I had simultaneous requests from Uber Eats and DoorDash. I mean, it's quite simple. Who's gonna pay you the most? Which one has a better dollars to mile ratio? Now, after that, and really only as a secondary point, I'll think about, okay, where is the restaurant? Where is it dropping off at? Am I comfortable picking up and dropping off there? But even that doesn't really matter. I mean, when we're talking about good dollars to mile pay. For instance, I actually took some orders downtown. Something that I'm not really a big fan of, and something that I don't really recommend just because of parking, is driving and delivering downtown, but I did. But let me know if you feel the same way. But the app, the Eats app, is just gonna keep sending you requests because you're downtown, you're in a dense area, it wants to get you another order, right? Well, I'm trying to manage the first drop off. I'm saying, am I coming up on the customer? And then I have to scan the road. Okay, where am I gonna park downtown? I wanna make sure I'm not turning onto a one-way. I'm looking if there's any cars rushing up behind me, let alone trying to manage a stacked order. Now, you can go into the settings, and I recommend you do so, and turn off new requests on the Eats app. Now, I did get stacked requests, and I did actually take one, and I took another request on Uber Eats that was also downtown. I guess I just said, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's pick up and drop off another order downtown. And I did so because of the extremely short distance. Now, that is one positive if you are going to deliver downtown. It's super, super short distances because you're delivering downtown. So the dollars to mile ratio, it was almost too good to ignore, and that's pretty much why I accepted that one. But after that second downtown order, I took my own advice. I put stop new requests, and I went back to my more comfortable marketplace, really just about, I'd say 5-8 minutes away, Mission Valley. And before we get into the numbers here, one thing I'll say is I was actually surprised with Uber Eats. And I think a lot of you mentioned this, and let me know down below in the comments if you're still seeing this, but a lot of these apps, Postmates and Uber Eats especially, I guess they're encouraging, or maybe it just happens this way, that customers tip after the delivery. That's why mastering service is so important, because it is noticed and customers are adding a tip after the fact. So, I mean, I got home, I was settling in, and I'm seeing these tips roll in on Uber Eats. In actuality, there were tips for every single order. So our first triple multi-apping shift, or at least one that I've actually documented here. So let's go over these numbers. So tonight's shift, a short one, it was from 6:35 p.m. until 8:35 p.m. here in Mission Valley. Total gross revenue, I'll give you DoorDash first, $29.10, and Uber Eats, $20.49. That's a gross revenue per hour of $24.80 with 0 promotions between both apps. That point surprised me the most, and I feel like that's really tips. That's why it's so important, again, to make sure you do everything right to best set yourself up for a tip. During this shift, I completed 6 deliveries, received 6 tips, with an average tip amount $3.41. Total business miles here, 31.4, with a tax deduction of $18.06. So that pay per mile, that's $1.58. And that is where you want to be. Really kind of the average that I'd like to see you at is at least $1.50 a mile. So that's part of the difference. How you're going to stand out on a non-promo shifts is it being smart with that dollars to mile ratio. Because if you're not smart, and you didn't know that, or you didn't really know what to look for, you could literally be at $1 per mile, or at 90 cents, or 85 cents per mile. So this was an interesting and pretty fun shift, actually. Maybe because I got pulled into different market segments. I know at least 2 other market segments, downtown and north of Mission Valley. Because if I was just driving just straight DoorDash, really it is going to keep you in that singular marketplace. But I mean, for the pay per mile and the gross revenue tonight on no bonuses at all, pretty happy with it. So if you got value in this video, definitely leave me a like and let me know if you enjoyed this multi-apping shift and if you'd like to see more. And do make sure to check out my Amazon storefront, linked down below in the description, for the very best accessories for your side hustle. You can click or tap the screen now for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you, and I'll see you in the next one.